3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome everybody back to another episode of Anchors Away. I am Nate Karsner, joined alongside by my father, Kevin, as we are getting the week going and getting it off to a good start with another episode. As always, we do have the question of the episode, but before we get going into that, how was your weekend? How are things going for you right now?
Yeah, it's looking good. Had a good weekend. Got some stuff done, got the yard mowed, all that good stuff. And, kind of relaxed and kind of had a wind down after the draft, so to speak. So how about yourself?
Yeah. Can't complain. Could have been better, could have been worse, but, fortunately, nothing too crazy went on or happened. So, we will take it and no complaints here.
Good deal.
Yeah. With that said, let's jump into the question. This one was pulled from mariners.com for the insider trivia. And since Logan Gilbert just won pitcher of the month for the American League, this one kind of ties into pitchers here.
Okay.
So which pitcher holds the Major League Baseball record for most 10 strikeout performances on opening day?
Would that be Randy?
It is Randy Johnson. He would struck out 10 batters 4 times on opening day. Felix is tied for second with 3 10 strikeout performances.
Okay.
So thought that was kind of a fun one, kind of an easier one today. Let's start the week off easy before the next episode. We'll try and find something a little bit harder.
Yeah, it was only so many starting pitchers that we've had.
Exactly. But
could have went with Felix. But...
Yep. Could have been an option, but Randy was probably, especially when it said Major League Baseball, especially his time with Arizona. I'm sure he had a couple there too.
Yeah, probably.
But pitcher wise, Logan Gilbert, American League Pitcher of the Month, like you were kind of saying before we started. You kind of thought maybe Justin Verlander would get it, just because of the national bias towards kind of the Astros and Seattle players not really getting much love in the past. But you can't really say anything different. I mean, Major League Baseball stats Twitter has Logan Gilbert at a .40 ERA. Which is the lowest in Mariners history through pitcher's first 4 starts in the season. Pretty sure he started 5 games, so I don't know if MLB stats is really up to date on that.
Right.
But that's what they have. So, I mean, is there anything more to say past that about Logan Gilbert? I mean, what a month that guy had. The only 2 runs he gave up were solo home runs. I mean, guys weren't getting on again. Like, what else is there to say about Logan Gilbert in the first month of the season?
How high is this guy's ceiling?
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, they went out and told him, hey, work on your secondary pitches. He goes out, works on his secondary pitches, and he's doing this.
Mm-hmm.
All I can say is let's wrap this guy up for a long time, because I think he's going to be able to continue pitching this way, just the way he's built. And he just goes about his business and doesn't get excited, and boom, he's pitching lights out. He is an ace right now. So, God, how lucky can we get?
Oh, I know. You signed last year's Cy Young winner. Logan Gilbert is arguably in the race. Of course, have to continue this the rest of the season. But I mean, after 1 month, I would say his outlook is looking pretty good there.
Yeah.
In terms of a Cy Young potential candidate. So we're through the first month of the season.
Yep.
We're sitting at 12-10 right now. Currently, while we are filming this, we're playing the Houston Astros. That might change 12-11, 13-10, something like that. But excluding Logan Gilbert, that's kind of probably the easy pick. Who would be your MVP of the team through that first month of the season? Could be pitcher or hitter.
Well, as Jimmy Fallon would say, you got to like my tight pants or Ty France.
Yeah.
I would really have to say Ty France. Just consistency, the power, hitting to all fields, defense. He's just picking it up, and I think he could be another candidate down the road, depending on what he does as far as MVP. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year if he keeps up his trajectory.
Yeah, I mean that was actually my pick as well, that I was going to say. So I do have his numbers pulled up through April. And this is from Mariners Twitter, so hopefully this one's actually accurate. But finished the month hitting .337, 5 home runs, .411 on base percentage, .965 on base plus slugging, .554 slugging. You know, 3 doubles, 21 RBIs. Like another great. I mean, there could be an argument for him being Player of the Month as well in the American League. I mean, that would have been too far for Major League Baseball to give both players to Seattle, but definitely a great month from him. And then kind of that secondary guy I just kind of was thinking of was J.P. Crawford.
Exactly.
Playing great defense, apparently has power now all of a sudden this year, has more home runs than Julio. So, I mean, you know, that the random drug test is going to be showing up on his doorstep here pretty soon.
Probably.
I don't know what his career high in home runs is, but it's not that high.
No, he's on his way though.
Yeah. I mean, especially especially the last couple home runs in Miami and Tampa. Those things were just rockets off his bat, like immediate gone. But yeah, it's fun to see him kind of getting it going again too. He's already his career high in home runs was 9. He did that last year, and he's at 4 after 1 month. So
there you go.
Yeah.
He's doing great. And he was another guy that was a change of scenery guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he got out of Philadelphia. Seattle backed him up, gave him some confidence. Boom. You know, he's done everything that Seattle's asked him, just like Logan Gilbert.
Yeah.
And that's probably the difference with this team too. If you look back at prior Mariner teams, they tried to do it through veterans. You're not going to change a veteran's. Any suggestion you make to a veteran is probably going to fall on deaf ears. Mm-hmm. They're not going to change what they've done. The younger guys, though, they want to get better. They are more coachable. And look at what's happening. I mean, case in point, Julio Rodriguez. They kept telling him, do not change what you're doing. You are seeing the ball perfectly. These umpires can't see the ball, obviously.
Yeah.
So just keep doing what you're doing. You're seeing the ball. You have the strike zone. Do not change anything. And good for Service to step up, good for the Mariners to send a letter to the league saying, hey, come on. Because out of those strikeouts, 10 of them were off of looking on balls out of the strike zone.
Yeah.
That's a problem for MLB. And this may push them towards that auto balls and strikes machine.
Yeah, so
as bad as it sounds, I think it's coming.
Yeah, kind of an interesting thing, just kind of talking about the strike zone and how kind of weird it is. I just saw this story today by Jeff Passan. It ties back. I know this is a national thing, but it ties back to what you're saying about Julio. Just getting kind of screwed out of some strikes. And I guess the what we see on like MLB TV or the K Tracer track or whatever, when MLB goes back and goes and reviews the game of the strikes and balls. I guess in the collective bargaining agreement for the umpires, they're given an extra 2-inch buffer outside of the strike zone that we see on an everyday basis.
What?
Yeah. So that's why Angel Hernandez for MLB is getting like grades of 90s, while if you actually look at the K Tracer, he should be in the 70s. So
that's messed up.
And so it's good that this is now in the national media. Because like you said, this is a big issue that it's not just Seattle that's getting screwed either. No. It's every team in the league.
And having called balls and strikes myself, high school, junior college level, it's tough to get it right every single time.
And you're not expected to.
No, but when it's that inconsistent, I'm sorry. Now it's time to say, if there's a way we can tighten this up a little bit, maybe we better look at it.
Yeah.
Because if they're going to pull out that CBA crap, then fine. We got an answer for you.
Yeah.
Boom. You lost a job.
Yeah. And I think I've never actually called balls and strikes or whatever, but I feel like if you, like the MLB gives you that 2-inch buffer, like, wouldn't you want to try and get better personally just to like be a better umpire and like have teams like, oh, good, we got this guy umping today. Like, well, our strike zone will be consistent. It'll be close. Where instead you do have these guys that are just kind of all over the place. The strike zone changes inning to inning, pitcher to pitcher. Like there's multiple times you'll see the catcher basically turn to him and be like, you just called this like a ball on me. Why is it now a strike? Like it's Jeff Passan. It was an interesting article that MLB has a different standard than what I guess the perception.
Even the players go off of,
Yeah. So it's good to know. Hopefully that gets kind of rectified and changed here going forward, because I'm sure there's AAA umpires that probably do a better job than some of the MLB guys to a point. because they're trying to get to that level.
They
want to take those jobs. So hopefully that's something that gets changed in the future. And kind of talking about umpires and penalties and fouls. The Sounders had quite the quite the match last week against Pumas, going 2-2 down there. Thankfully, Nicholas Ladero gets a penalty goal, and I guess the 99th minute or something like that to tie it up. So, but from what you were telling me, it sounded like it was a pretty nasty game. I haven't gotten a chance to watch it really. Life's been getting in the way, but tell me more about what happened in the game from what you've seen.
It was definitely a game that was, it was going to be chippy going into it. And the players, they thought, like Deneen, who was supposed to not play, he played. And he was all over the field, and he was one of the scorers there for them. But it was an international, not a friendly. Let's put it to you that way. Pumas was definitely, in this game. They knew what the history of it was. They haven't won, CONCACAF or the Champions League forever, since I think it was 89 before, when it was the other match. Oh, okay. So they were definitely wanting to win. They also didn't want to be the first team to lose in Mexico City, I can imagine. So it was very, very surprising to see them get up to that point and to pull out of there with a draw. I was shocked, especially that last penalty. I mean, I was just, but for the Sounders' behalf, they stayed in it. It was definitely a hostile crowd, so to speak, but they didn't get 60,000. They only had like 42,000 there. So,
oh wow.
But very, very vocal group. But yeah, a lot of challenges were done on that field that day. And just some of the fouls were just shouldn't have been done, but I get it. It is a championship match. Kudos to Seattle for getting that draw 2-2.
Yeah.
So, whoever wins on Wednesday,
that is it.
There's no figuring out, goals differential or anything like that. It's just flat out winner takes all tonight on Wednesday night. So
yeah, there's definitely part of me that likes that, but then there's also the part of like, well, Seattle scored 2 away goals. Like, shouldn't that count for something? But obviously it doesn't.
Yeah, it's like, come on.
Yeah, it's like when you actually want it to count, it doesn't. But yeah, it's just definitely something I definitely want to check out, obviously, before Wednesday, just to kind of get caught up and see at least the highlights, even if they're the condensed game, just to really get an idea going into this coming game on Wednesday, because CenturyLink's going to, or Lumen Field, is going to be going wild, and it's exciting for Seattle and the Sounders, and I think they would have been the first MLS team to win in Mexico City, but they'll at least have the chance to win that championship. Based on kind of what you see, do you like the chances of Seattle to be able to go in and get the win?
Yeah, I think if they play exactly the way they did, and now they know what they're up against.
Yeah.
What kind of play it's going to be. And I think we're going to have, we should be fully healthy. I think even Yamar should be playing a little bit more than the 18 minutes he played in the last game. So defensive wise, we should be a little bit better that way. And of course, with the home crowd behind them, I think they have a chance. They definitely sold out, I think, 65,000. I don't know if they're going to get the record for the biggest crowd at Lumen Field, but it'll be probably one of the bigger CONCACAF crowds, at least in the U.S. So it should be pretty interesting. And hopefully once we get past CONCACAF here, maybe it'll help Seattle get back on track with the MLS season. I think they only got 7 points so far, so they have some opportunities. They've missed out on points, losing to Miami and San Jose at the last minute.
Yeah.
So, I think Seattle, though, as much as they say one game at a time, I do think they were looking more at the CCL than those 2 MLS games that they just didn't get through. So I'm not too worried about the MLS season. But then with, next, what is it? Just a little bit over a week from now, they'll be playing San Jose again in the Open Cup. So I think they've learned their lesson. I think they got woken up by San Jose on the last game. So I think Seattle will be set up pretty good going forward. So not too worried about them. But I do think Seattle comes away with a win on Wednesday. When it comes to championships and trophies, that organization has one thing in mind, and that is to win it.
Yep.
And I think they are driven to win this. They need to add it to the trophy case. That's something they don't have. To be the first MLS team to do it will also be a nice little moniker to put on the back burner, and get that banner as well. But I'm picking a win. I think it'll be a very contested match, but I think something like 3-1 might be the final.
Okay, so scoring wise, it might not be as close of a game as as compared to watching it live. You would expect this game to be back and forth throughout the whole time. 3-1, that would be a nice score to end it. That's for sure. I don't think anyone would be upset with that.
Yeah, and I think we'll actually score via not the penalty kick in this next match.
It'll be real, I guess not real, but not as easy goals. I guess it'll be more earned goals.
Earned goals, in the play, because again, I know that penalty kicks are one thing, but I think you want to do it while in play. You just want to show what you're able to, and I think that will happen. So I could see us going up 2-1 in the second half, and then it'll be towards the end, and then we'll get one of those nail in the coffin shots, probably like in the 85th minute or something like that, to make it 3-1, and then just the wind is out of Pumas' sails at that point, and we can coast in. That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to predict.
Yep.
I would love to have it happen that way. So
it would be nice to kind of not have to really grind out the full 90 minutes, and then it looked like in that first game they did an extra 10 minutes to really. And I've never seen an extra 10 minutes before, but it worked out. So
yes, it did.
It would be nice if we could maybe do an extra 4 minutes this time, or make it not so worrisome, at least for Sounder fans, and kind of just accept that we get the win and move on. And then after that, you'll go play Dallas and hopefully pick up another win. Then the next week, like you said, the 11th, we're starting with that U.S. Open Cup against San Jose. So hopefully get some revenge there. There's another team that shares Lumen Field that we kind of need to talk about today. Most people probably don't know who it is, but of course the NFL team without a quarterback, the Seattle Seahawks. And we got it.
No, they have Drew.
Well, okay, they have a quarterback. Geno Smith, Jacob Eason. They got quarterbacks, but it'll be a little bit of a fall off from the last few years. People definitely have their mixed reactions on Russ, but he's definitely a better quarterback than the three we got in the room right now.
Oh, I do.
But one thing we kind of do have to talk about that kind of was just broke today was DK Metcalf. He was on Shannon Sharp's podcast, and we've had a lot of the receiver moves here at the draft. AJ Brown going to Philly, signing a $25 million contract there. Hollywood Brown leaving Baltimore, going down to Arizona, which is probably good for them with D-Hop now getting suspended for the first 6 games. So Shannon Sharp asked him, what's going to happen with you? And are your agents talking to the front office at all? And he said basically along the lines of, pretty sure we're going to be getting something done. I feel like I'll be in Seattle for the next few years. It fits kind of the argument that I had. Sign him for 4 years, have on the rookie quarterback contract where you're not paying the quarterback big money. 4 years, he'll be 29, cut him loose unless he's, Calvin Johnson 2.0.
Right.
He's playing incredible football at 29. But what are your thoughts there? Cause I know you were kind of on the opposite end there for a little bit, we don't need him, pick up draft capital. Kind of hearing that, what do you think?
No, your argument was sound, and the more I thought about it, let's pay the boy. Let's pay him $25 million. Let's give him $100 million for 4 years and give him 50, half of it guaranteed.
Yeah, I think AJ got 52 guaranteed. I think AJ Brown.
Yeah, I'm sure if you walked out to DK and said, "Hey, we'd like to go ahead and do a 4-year, $100 million, 50 guaranteed," he'd probably sign today.
Yeah,
if he's smart.
Yeah.
Because you're right. We're going to have let's take a look at it this way though. They saved money with the tackles.
Yep, they did.
Because that's an $18 million job right there. And hey, we just drafted 2 of them, bookends. Boom, we're done there. We got the running back. We aren't going to have to shell out money for Chris. I think Chris Carson just read the writing on the wall. He's not getting paid. No, he's not getting paid, and he's probably not going to play with that neck injury. So, okay, we're done with that. So I think, and then with the cornerbacks we picked up.
Yep.
Again, rookie contracts. We don't have to pay big money on those. So you're right. Why don't we pay the one guy the money? Let's keep him around. Let's see what he can do, because it definitely looks like we're going back to 2012.
Yeah.
Even with the offense.
Mm-hmm.
We're going back to the run game. Let's see if anybody can stop us. Let's control the ball. Let's have Lockett and DK available, so when we go down the field, they're ready for it.
Yep.
And they just can't stack the box. You got your 2 wideouts. We got either D. Eskridge flying around there on jet sweeps. So you are going to see an LA Rams offense come out of this. Definitely. It'll just depend on who the quarterback is. If it is Drew Lock, not a big deal. He can make those short timing throws over the middle. We got Noah Fant, as the tight
pass
end.
catching tight end. Yep.
We picked up his 5th-year option, unlike LJ Collier. So you know where they're going with that. So I think, and then with all the rookies on the defensive line, I think, and I was thinking about this after you mentioned that, I'm sure Schneider has a 1-year, a 3-year, a 5-year, and a 7-year build-out plan of all the costs.
Yeah.
And he's probably already written out what they're going to have to pay everybody down the road at some point. And so that's why probably DK feels pretty good something's getting done, because they think they've already figured that out. So,
yeah, I would probably agree with that, especially after seeing the AJ Brown and the 4 receivers that I brought up in the previous episode.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, it kind of feels like too in the NFL, like, is the salary cap really real? I mean, the Saints were 70 million over the cap like a day before the cap, they were going to get penalized. Then they were under it by 10 mil or something like that. The Rams pay everybody market value and more, and they're still somehow under the cap. They got to pay their rookies too. But
again, it's not guaranteed. Not everything's guaranteed.
No.
And unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of unemployed players because the rates are going way up too fast. And when you're paying quarterbacks $50 million and you got your receivers at $25 million, you're going to have to pay your safety $15 million, your left tackle $18. You're not going to have money to go around for everybody.
No.
And that's where it's going to start. You're going to start to see the stuff. And like Green Bay, they have no money after this year.
Yeah.
None.
They're screwed.
Dallas, same way. None. There's, it's like, what are they going to do? They're going to have to get rid of a ton of players. So I think Seattle kind of saw their handwriting on the wall and started getting rid of all those big contracts.
Yeah.
And they're starting over now. So.
Yeah. And just to, kind of go back to what you said previously, and to kind of tie into the draft class that we do have coming in this year. But it does feel like, we're kind of going back to that 2012, 2013 blueprint, like you were saying. Obviously, Russell Wilson was fine. He was a decent quarterback those few years, but it was let the defense win you games, hand the ball to Marshawn, and go heavy on play action, which is kind of Drew Lock's specialty, even in Denver. Like when they actually ran play action, he's kind of a Tannehill-like player, He is. You can't have him be the main guy. You can't have like the Dak Prescott throw him 40 times a game or Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. But if you can run play action with him, he's serviceable.
Yes. Yeah.
And then, next year we'll see what goes on and how he does. And next year's draft is much better quarterback wise. But this kind of ties in now into that draft of, the first couple guys that we picked up definitely fit the mold of that 2012 team. First off, going chalk with Charles Cross. Fortunately, he fell to 9. In our draft, he did not. So that's why, we obviously traded back and did what we did. But great for Seattle, and like you said, these tackles are getting paid 18, 20 million a year. Sorry, Dwayne Brown, but we just drafted your replacement for $8 million a year. I was first round pick, so he's going to get paid a little bit, but so much cheaper than, what even Dwayne or Brandon Shell, even, who also probably got replaced.
He got replaced. Yeah. Brandon Shell got replaced.
So like you were saying there. And then, let's jump to Chase, or no one's surprised about Charles Cross. As soon as he was on the board, it's like, lock him in. solid lineman. He'll be your left tackle of the future. Hopefully can turn into a Walter Jones-esque or Joe Thomas type left tackle where
I'll take a Dwayne Brown left tackle.
Even that too. Consistency, healthy, and just is able to lock up the left side. But then the second pick for Seattle, Boy Mafe out of Minnesota. This one was a surprise to me. I don't know.
It was too.
I don't know if anyone really had him going this early, or if Seattle even. Obviously, we needed that defensive end with Dunlap. He's going to be gone, and we just don't really have a strong pass rush, so it makes sense for the fit. It's just kind of weird with all the other available pass rushers at the time. I mean, I guess he does run a 4.5 40, 6'4", 261. So at least he fits the mold of, that good edge rushing size. But I don't know. It was a weird pick to me.
Yeah, it was a weird pick to me, but I guess we're going to see a lot more 3-4.
Yeah, that's what we're going to, is that 3-4.
Yeah.
So you have Jordan
because
Brooks,
I guess he can
Mosley.
play. Yeah, and I guess he can play coverage, kind of like what Irvin could do back in 2012. So he can drop into coverage and follow some tight ends around, I guess. So maybe that type. Again, he's if we're going to go to a 3-4 outside linebacker type edge rusher, he would probably fit that mold kind of. But again, somebody I had not even considered.
Not heard of.
I saw some games again with, Big Ten games with them in it. I, again, wasn't somebody who stood out.
Yeah. Wouldn't have even known he was on the field probably.
But again, that's what the scouts are for. So
and
hopefully they got.
It seems like realistically, Seattle's not the best drafting team. We can probably say that at least the last few. When Schneider and Carroll were first there, they seemed to draft stars all over the place. Lately, it's been a little rough, but I will say their linebacker scouts seem to be pretty good at what they do. Jordan Brooks the last couple of years has really come into his own. So hopefully it kind of is that and even
same kind
Burke Irvin even in who's the Cody
Barton.
Thank you. So even he's he's definitely not like an elite linebacker, but serviceable and kind of does what. So, at least I can have a little bit of faith in the linebacking scouts that they seem to know what they're doing. And then, Seattle back-to-back picks in the second round go Ken Walker here. At first, I was not happy. Like, I was actually we were at dinner when this happened, and I almost, if I wasn't there, I probably would have thrown something or just at first I like, it made no sense. Desmond Ritter's there, even Malik Willis is there. Like, any quarterback besides Kenny Pickett, which I would not have wanted anyway, was available. And when we heard Kenneth Walker III out of Michigan State, it's kind of like, why? And then, now we're on Monday, and it's kind of had time to settle and kind of, feel good about it. And I actually really like the pick now. Like you were saying, Chris Carson, the neck surgery. Rashad Penny is never healthy. The guy ran for 1,600 yards, 18 touchdowns, ran a 4.3 40. He's a little bit on the smaller end, 5'9", 211, but that's about Marshawn's size. Marshawn was about 5'10".
I heard a comp.
Okay.
For Walker, and you might actually be excited about this comp.
Okay.
The comp was for coming out of the draft. Mm-hmm. He is a lot like Zeke Elliott.
Okay. If we get
out of the draft
before contract Zeke, I'd be happy with that.
Yes. Before contract Zeke. Let's put it to you that way. He has the same moxie as Zeke did when he first came in.
Okay. If we can,
and if we can get a Zeke Elliott in his prime,
I'm happy with that.
Hey, cool.
Yeah, great pick.
You just helped out our quarterback. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's the thing, kind of what you were saying a little bit earlier about DK. It's like, we make it so they can't load the box, and that we need to get the receivers. But if we can at least make that the other teams like, ooh, this guy can actually run. Maybe we do need to get at least one extra guy in there. Then obviously that'll help everybody on the offense. The one thing that is a little worrisome, he's only caught 19 passes in 3 seasons, so. Which he's probably not going to be needed to, especially, with the offense they're kind of moving to. So it'll be interesting to see what I would expect them to maybe try and find a pass catching running back or a third down back, that can block and maybe get out a little bit. But that's kind of the only thing that I'm a little bit worried about going forward with him. And then the final pick of day 2, Abraham Lucas out of Washington State. I guess he grew up in Everett. So definitely
Archbishop Murphy.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely stayed real close to home then. And they basically in the first 2 days locked down the right and left side of the offensive line.
Yes, they did.
Saved a bunch of money. So again, it's not the flashy pick that I kind of wanted to see, but it's a necessary pick that's much needed. And I think this kid's like he's huge, isn't he? Abraham
6'5", 315, I think it was.
Okay. Yeah. So definitely a big kid.
4-year starter at Wazoo.
Yep. One thing that's going to be interesting, and it'll be interesting what the offensive line coach does with the Hawks this year, especially if they're going to be going more to that like single back 21 formation. Right. The 2 receivers, 1 back. How Cross and Lucas are going to transition into getting into the 3-point stance. Both those guys have been standing up, pass block or pass sets most of their career. So it'll be kind of interesting to me to see how they transition, because most of the time when you're running, especially in that kind of formation, you're not going to be standing up. You're going to be down and trying to get leverage on the D line. Especially with Cross is also like 6'4". Definitely
he's
just bigger guys.
They're tall. And the interesting thing, and this was brought out after Lucas got picked up, was they both have played for Mike Leach. So they have the same terminology. So as tackles, they can talk to each other and say, what does this mean in the NFL?
Yeah.
We know what this meant in college. How does this translate?
Yeah.
So they're going to be able to talk to each other and not even have a problem with knowing what each other one is doing. So they'll be able to help each other out pretty good. And then of course with Gabe from LSU days, hello.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Damian Lewis, from LSU days. And then Gabe, all of a sudden the offensive line doesn't look so shabby.
No, it really doesn't, compared to the last few years. Like it's actually this might be a serviceable line. Like, maybe we're kind of in the teens, I'm not expecting a top 10 necessarily, but if we're not 31st in pass pressure, like, hey, that's pretty good. Like,
definitely. It's a start.
We'll definitely give them a few years. All those guys are pretty young. So they definitely have time to continue to develop it and kind of get used to that NFL pass and run blocking. So after that, our first pick in day 3, my favorite pick of the draft personally was Kobe Bryant out of Cincinnati.
Yes.
Won the best defensive back player of the year award last year, lined up opposite of Sauce Gardner, who went number 4 overall. So the guy was tested a lot.
Yes, he was.
So he's probably he can actually play cornerback. Lines up well, about 6'1", 193. So he's tall, lanky, kind of fits that prototypical Seattle cornerback. The only thing that people were upset by that I can tell was he ran a 4.5 at the combine. And if we have Quandre playing center field, that's fine with me.
That's fine with me. Yep. No problems. Yeah. And when you think about it, Kobe Bryant's name did not come up at all.
No.
They were talking cornerbacks.
No.
Yeah. He was the award winner.
Yeah.
So why did he win the award? Because he was probably targeted so often because, Sauce, it's just like when Richard Sherman was here.
Yeah.
Richard Sherman never got interceptions. Why? Because nobody would throw it his way.
Exactly.
They're all going over on the other side. So, are we worried about Kobe Bryant being out there by himself? I'm not.
No.
He can be on an island. He knows how to fend for himself. He's had practice. He's had the other guy that got picked higher than him.
Exactly.
So it's just wild that he went in the 4th round and he is the best defensive back.
Yeah.
So here we get the best running back and we get the best D-back.
Yeah.
Of 2022.
Yeah.
Draft.
I mean, not upset with that at all.
No.
I was actually sitting there when I saw Kobe was still on the board. I'm like, if we really messed this one up, like, there's been a lot of players with Seattle where it's like,
I know
why did we pass him? But when you could kind of read the lips, I had the TV on mute, and it started with Kobe. I was like, thank you. They did the right pick. Kobe Bryant comes to Seattle. Great cornerback, is probably going to start from day one. Probably opposite. Maybe Sidney Jones. Maybe
either Sidney or Trey.
Yeah. So at least and then he will have the help with Quandre will help out over the top. Like I'm not worried about the speed. Everything will work out fine. At least I think with Kobe and going forward.
Yeah.
And then, right after Kobe, we draft Tariq Woolen out of Texas, San Antonio. Definitely going to be more of a We'll need some
He's
time.
a project.
Yep.
But
6'4", 205 and ran a 4.26.
He's Richard Sherman.
There's a reason they picked him up.
Oh, yeah. He's a Richard Sherman. I mean, he had 2 years of being a receiver before he transferred over to being a D-back.
Yep.
So he does, he has only got 16 games playing cornerback, but like Richard Sherman, they got time to work with this kid, get that kick step going and everything. So I think, they're going to be fine with him, and he'll probably get a lot of special teams play.
Oh yeah. Oh, he'll be a gunner for sure.
Absolutely. So it'll be fun to see what his progression is, but he's got the size, he's got the speed. Could be that Richard Sherman kind of type cornerback that we needed. And that's why there's a lot of stuff kind of lining up with 2012 for some reason.
Yeah. And then, after that, Tyreek Smith out of Ohio State. Definitely not one of the Ohio State guys that was really talked about much. No. I mean, I don't really watch Big 10 football or Big 12, whatever they are now. But just not a name you hear often. But if he's out of Ohio State, he must be good.
Yeah.
Must be decent.
Definitely worth something to take a flyer on.
Yeah. Kind of fits about the same, prototype size that we like at linebacker with Seattle, 6'3", 254. Only 7 sacks in 4 seasons. Like you said, it's worth taking a flyer on.
Yeah.
But it could turn into something, could not. It's not one I'm not like upset with or why does it makes sense in my head. Like, okay, he's there. Might as well take him.
I'll take him.
Need the help at the edge spot anyway. And then kind of to end the draft, we go receiver back to back, starting with Bo Melton out of Rutgers, 5'11", 189, ran a 4.34, so definitely quick. A little bit like D. Eskridge. So definitely not upset with that. Could end up maybe being a practice squad guy who, kind of makes the jump later in the season after an injury or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe he also turns into a gunner or return guy. I mean, he ran a 4.3 40 like that. Why not? If he's, if he can make a tackle, I'd love to see maybe him and Tariq Woolen on the outsides there. Got a lot of speed for Dixon to kind of really kick it up high and guys to get down there. So and then the final pick, Derek Young out of Lenore Rhine.
I think North Carolina. Is that where he's from? Something like that. Somewhere on the East Coast.
Yeah. I think he was, like I said, the best D2 receiver. So maybe a Cooper Kupp type player. Cooper Kupp came out of D2.
Cooper
D1
Kupp came out of
Eastern Washington, but it's FCS. They don't.
I know. Second tier.
Yeah, but I guess they get 6'3", 220, ran a 4.4. Kind of reminds me of Chris Matthews from the 2013.
Kind of. Yeah.
Obviously, the 2014 Super Bowl against the Patriots where the guy goes off and then they don't throw it to him on the last play of the game. But definitely kind of that same size, same, 40 times, decently quick. Again, I think it's kind of like the Tyreek Smith fella out of Ohio State. It's worth seeing what he can do in the NFL and give him his shot. I'm definitely not upset with that pick. And it kind of stayed with the theme of going like basically 2 at every position. 2 DBs, 2 edge rushers, 2 cornerbacks, 2 receivers, 2 offensive linemen, than just the 1 running back. But it definitely seemed like they had a theme this year.
Yeah,
with the 2s, 9 total picks. And then, like you were saying, it just keeps translating to the 2012 draft. I've seen a lot of Fs from the analysts about this draft for Seattle. And obviously we got a ton of Fs in 2012 when it turned out to be probably the best draft of that
for
year,
Seattle.
if not, definitely Seattle. So,
it's always fun to see what the prognosticators said. Just because somebody didn't pick who you thought they needed to, it makes everybody an F. That's the mentality of the graders and the critiques, critics out there. But it's, and as I heard, I think it was Joy from the Herd. Mm-hmm. She goes, everybody thinks their draft is perfect.
Oh, exactly.
Everybody loves their draft.
Yeah.
Not until 2024 can we really say if anything came out of this one. But again, still scratch my head on some of the picks.
Oh yeah.
Even after at this point going, I don't know if that's going to pan out, but
yeah,
they definitely are in a rebuild. The national media is saying 4 wins if we're lucky.
Yep.
So that's what Seattle's up against, and I think that's kind of what the draft was. It was like, you know what, we're not expected to do anything. Let's look at next year.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get ourselves set up for the next year?
Yeah.
So I think that might have been, it'd be nice if they do something this year, but I'm not going to hold out. The quarterback situation is probably the biggest reason why everybody has us at 4 wins.
Yeah.
But again, if they do it right and we do it as we need a field manager to hold on to the ball, not giving it up. And now all of a sudden we have all these other changes. Who knows? Again, they definitely did some stuff on the defensive side that I like.
Yep.
Again, I'm preaching defense wins championships. So,
it does. Yep.
But you have to have an offense to get you there. So
exactly.
That's where we might be a little bit behind the 8 ball this year. So we'll see.
Yeah. Overall, I think it was a fine draft.
I think,
like you said, it's not the draft that's going to win you a Super Bowl right now, but in a couple years, letting the guys develop. Let's say we win about 3 or 4 games this year, have a chance to draft Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, and then these guys will be in their second year. That seems like a good setup to me. Maybe we sign DK to a 4-year contract. He's going to have 2 more years. Maybe you're looking at the 25 season going to a Super Bowl. Like that's kind of that they're kind of building the same way they did back in the day when Russ first got here. So
exactly.
It's again, none of these picks are really like the flashy, high profile picks, but I like them a lot. Kobe Bryant's very good. Kenneth Walker III has very high potential. And then Charles Cross should be a really good lineman going forward.
Oh yeah.
But that's kind of what I had today. As I just said, that Marco gave up a home run to Jordan Alvarez, so they're now down 1-0 in this game. And we can talk about that on Thursday. But with that said, I do. I know.
I'm sure something's going to happen on next Thursday, right?
Yeah, should be this Thursday.
Yeah.
So that episode will be out on Friday. So should be some fun things at the end of this week. It'll be kind of fun to kind of see this other guy's opinion on Mariners and Seahawks. And I know he's his AFC team is the Denver Broncos. So interesting to get
he must be happy.
He half and half, half happy for Denver, half happy for Seattle, so I'll be curious to kind of get his opinion on, the Denver trade with Russ and kind of just see how he feels, how everything went down. But
absolutely.
To close everything out, that's kind of all I got today. Is there anything else, you want to kind of close with before we wrap things up?
Yeah, I guess just, kind of hit back on the Mariners. Talk about, not having luck. Poor Mitch Haniger.
Yeah.
And I know at the start of the season, we were kind of talking about the outfielders and what do we do when, if Kyle Lewis comes back and stuff.
Yeah.
I think we know what's happening. So I don't know if Mitch can stay healthy. I hate to say it, but the guy has just been snake bit with unfortunate luck,
Yep.
And now he's back on the IL. So again, speedy recovery out to you, Mitch. Get back on the field. We need you. You had the right attitude.
Mm-hmm.
He just set us off on the right foot last year at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I just feel for the guy. I really do.
Yeah.
Come on. Mitch, hang in there. We love to see you back soon. But yeah, that's something that, we've talked about. There's going to be some guys coming up eventually. So
yeah, I definitely, just to finish this up real quick, definitely agree. I think he's kind of the odd man out after the COVID stuff. And then the high grades, grade 2 right high ankles. Wow. That's a tongue twister. But I think you're right. I think he's kind of that odd man, Jesse can move to basically a full-time DH against right-handed batting or pitchers.
Right.
And if Kyle's healthy, he'll produce, because even before he got hurt last year, he was kind of on a tear there. Julio had another hit tonight, so it definitely feels like 3 hits last night, another hit tonight. He's starting to get this thing going. Figure it out.
I mean, I think the last 12 games or something, he's hitting like 283 now.
Yeah, so it definitely took some time, but He's just about there as my mic is falling off the table. So with that said, appreciate everybody for watching, checking us out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Anchor.fm. Subscribers are going up, views are going up. So we definitely appreciate that. And we'll continue to push out the Seattle sports content as, we continue on with this thing that we're doing. It's been a lot of fun. I appreciate you always, coming on every week and doing the show. And with that said,
it's a two-way.
Yep,
two ways.
It is true. But we will see you all in the next episode of Anchors Away. And thank you for watching.